Hey, how's it going everybody? Welcome back to Aussie Fish Keeping. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the top 5 best aquarium plants that you can keep with guppies. So guppies are a very common little aquarium fish in the aquarium hobby. Obviously they're very easy to care for, very easy to breed. And one of the things that makes them so easy to breed is that they are actually a live bearing fish, which does mean they give birth to live fry. But a downside of this is that those live fry make an absolutely perfect little snack for the adult guppies. So what I've done for today's video is I've picked out 5 really bushy aquarium plants that are absolutely perfect to throw into your guppy aquarium, and they'll actually help keep your fry a lot safer. They'll give them somewhere to hide and they'll stop the predation from the parents. But yeah, I guess with that being said, without any further ado, let's just jump straight into today's video with the first plant on our list. So as for plant number 1 today, we have one of my favorite little aquarium plants. I've talked about it quite a bit on my channel. We have foxtail. So foxtail is a great little aquarium plant. It's absolutely perfect for beginners as well. So it's so easy to care for. It's actually sort of a floating plant. So I keep it floating. I think you can bury it in the substrate, but I do think it does a lot better floating. And by floating plant, I mean, you can see right here, it doesn't really like float on top of your water, it just floats like under your water's surface. And that's actually one of the reasons it's so great for guppies. So usually guppy fry will hang around the top of your aquarium, and if you have some floating foxtail like this, it gives them a perfect little spot to hide and get away from the parents. Another great thing about this foxtail is it's actually super fast growing as well. So I got this stuff quite a while ago. I got like a massive bucket of it and I spread it throughout my aquariums, and now I've got so much of this stuff. So yeah, it really does grow very fast, and you definitely will need to make sure you go in there and thin it out every now and then if you want to keep your aquarium looking nice and tidy. So like I said, this stuff is so easy to care for, and as for water parameters you're going to want to keep it in, it can pretty much go in anything from about 18 to 28 degrees Celsius, which is about 65 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit, and it can be kept in a pH anywhere between 6 to 7.5. Another great thing about this is it doesn't really require high lighting whatsoever. In fact, it's probably best to keep it in the sort of low to moderate lighting, just because sometimes, because this stuff is so close to your light, just because it's all the way at the top, it's very prone to getting like algae growing all through it. And that can be super annoying, just because if you try and get that algae off, you can just rip the foxtail apart, which is, yeah, I mean, it's super annoying. So keeping it in lower lighting is definitely better. You can see I've got this pretty low lighting, like it's not really high, and it seems to go completely fine in that. It still grows fast, it grows nice and green, and it doesn't grow too much algae on it either. So yeah, with that being said, foxtail is definitely one of the best little aquarium plants that you can throw in with your guppies. Moving on to the next aquarium plant on our list, we've got one which I don't really think is going to come as a surprise to anyone. We have guppy grass. So yeah, obviously it does say in the name, I mean, guppy grass, you'd think it goes well with guppies, and it does. I mean, I've got some back here. This is some that I got from a tiny cutting only a little while ago, and it's already filled up this tank like 4 times. I've had to thin it out into all my aquariums. I've got it in with all my guppies as well, and it's absolutely perfect for them. So it's super fast growing. It's also a floating plant. I mean, it does root down into the substrate once it gets really established, but usually it sort of just floats around in your water column, and because of that, it provides a nice little refuge for all your little guppy fry to go away and hide in. And another great thing about this stuff, which I actually love, is it's not super dense. So you can see behind me again, it is dense enough so that it will hide the fry, but it's not so dense that it's just gonna like fill up your aquarium and your fish won't be able to get through it. Sometimes with some of these really bushy aquarium plants, if they do that, it can make it pretty hard for your fish to swim around in your aquarium, just because it's taking up a lot of the water column. But yeah, guppy grass is definitely dense enough for the fry. It's just sparse enough for your adult fish to swim through as well. So it's just an absolutely perfect combination for your guppies. As well as that, it's so easy to care for. And as for water parameters for this stuff, you're gonna want a temperature between 18 to 28 degrees Celsius, which is about 65 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit, and you're going to want a pH anywhere between 6.5 to 7.5. Much like the foxtail as well, this stuff doesn't really require any crazy lighting either. It can go in pretty much all lighting intensities, although it does best in that low to moderate. Again, just because it does minimize the risk of algae growing all over it. And another great thing about this stuff is it can go with literally any aquarium fish. It doesn't have to go with guppies. It can go with any sort of tropical aquarium fish, from dwarf cichlids, you know, angelfish, barbs, tetras, all of those aquarium fish really do benefit from having this stuff in the aquarium. So yeah, with that being said, guppy grass is another great little aquarium plant that you can throw in with your guppies. Moving on to the next aquarium plant on our list, we have one that's very popular for beginners. We have Java moss. So I've mentioned this in a few of my videos. I actually struggle to keep Java moss. I'm not too sure why. I think my light in the aquarium just isn't too good. But I have successfully kept it before, and I will say it's absolutely perfect to throw into any live bearer aquarium. It's one of the fastest growing aquarium plants as well, and actually something that's super beneficial about these fast growing aquarium plants is that they actually do help keep the water column a lot cleaner, and that's very beneficial, particularly when you're keeping guppies. So guppies are very prone to getting diseases like fin rot, which usually comes around when your water quality is pretty poor. And that's when you get high ammonia, fluctuations in the nitrogen cycle, and just overall diminished water quality. So having these fast growing aquarium plants in there actually helps control your nitrogen cycle and minimize any of that excess ammonia. It also helps absorb any excess nutrients, and because of that, your water quality is going to be a lot better, which means there's a lot lower of a risk of your guppies actually getting fin rot or any other sorts of diseases. So yeah, not only does Java moss do that, but pretty much all the aquarium plants that I've said previously also do that. So they're great for that aspect as well. Now, Java moss isn't really a floating plant. I mean, being a moss, it does sort of grow over surfaces in your aquarium, but you can get really nice thick bunches of it as well. And this stuff is very great just because when the fry are first born, they will immediately sink down to the bottom, and only after, you know, they just sort of chill out for a bit, then they'll go up to the top and hide in your foxtail and all that sort of stuff. So the Java moss is great for giving them a little bit of coverage when they're first born and keeping them nice and safe on the floor level of your aquarium. Another great thing about Java moss is it's absolutely so easy to care for. So like I mentioned, it is a great beginner aquarium plant, and as for water parameters for this stuff, again, it can go unheated in water parameters anywhere between 18 to 28 degrees Celsius, which is about 65 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit. And it can go in a pH anywhere between 6.5 to 8. It is really one of the hardiest aquarium plants out there. It doesn't require any crazy water parameters, doesn't require any crazy lighting either. And it definitely does best in lower lighting, just because I've got some over here and it's in a little bit of a higher lighting tank, and it's absolutely like coated in algae. It's very annoying. I just keep it in there just because I can't really be bothered dealing with it right now. But yeah, with that being said, Java moss is another great little guppy aquarium plant, and I would highly recommend it. Moving on to the next aquarium plant on our list, we actually have another moss. We have Suwat. So I've been mentioning this stuff a lot in some of my latest videos, and I've just decided to start calling it freshwater seaweed. It's so hard to pronounce. I actually had someone comment the other day how to pronounce it, but I'm giving up. So yeah, freshwater seaweed is one of my favorite aquarium plants as well. I've been raving about it recently. It's super great, very fast growing, it looks super cool, and it does provide a great little refuge for your guppy fry. Again, this stuff sort of stays on the bottom of your aquarium. It doesn't really float. You can see behind me here, I've got this big bunch down the bottom. And because of that, it provides a little refuge when your guppies are first born. It keeps them nice and safe from the adults or any other aquarium fish in your aquarium. And it is also very fast growing, so it doesn't require any like fertilizers, excess nutrients, any of that to grow well in your aquarium. And it'll pretty much grow in any sort of water parameters, any sort of nutrient level. It also does best in lower lighting as well. Same reason as the Java moss and all the other plants on this list, is because you want to try and prevent any algae growth in it, just because it can be super annoying to deal with that. But yeah, like I mentioned, very easy to care for. So as for water parameters for this stuff, it can go unheated with a temperature anywhere between 18 to 26 degrees Celsius, which is about 65 to 79 degrees Fahrenheit. And it can go in a pH anywhere between 6.5 to 7.5. So something you do want to remember if you are keeping this, you want it in a pretty slow flow aquarium, just because it can be kicked up by strong flow. It does have like these super small little hooks that it grips onto things in your aquarium with, but they're not really too strong when it's up against really fast flow. So it'll just be like, you know, swirling around in your aquarium. So trying to keep it in a slow flow aquarium is definitely best. You don't really want high flow in a guppy breeding tank anyway. So yeah, with that being said, Suwat or freshwater seaweed is another great little aquarium plant for your guppies. And then moving on to the final aquarium plant on our list. This one actually isn't an aquarium plant, and I know that might sound confusing, but we've got algae. So I'm not just talking about any old algae. I'm mainly talking about, you know, hair algae, thread algae. You can see back here I've got this massive ball of, I think it's thread algae, I completely forgot, And yeah, if you've seen some of my previous videos before, I absolutely love algae. I think it's very beneficial to keep in your aquarium, particularly if you can control it like this. So a lot of people hate algae. I know I've been saying throughout this video that you want to try and keep algae off your aquarium plants. So if you can keep algae off your aquarium plants and you can grow it by itself in a nice little ball like this, it can make an absolutely superb little plant, I guess, to throw into your guppy aquarium. So you can see I've got this massive bunch of algae back here, and it's absolutely great. I have it with endlers, which are pretty much guppies, and it really helps keep the fry safe. And one of the biggest benefits of algae is it's completely free, so you can literally grow this stuff by yourself. What I did to get this is I literally got a tiny piece of thread algae, threw it in there, and it just, you know, became massive. Or what you can do is get an aquarium outside where there's heaps of sun. You can try and grow some algae in there. Sometimes it can be hard to grow the certain type of algae you want. I've actually done a video on all the different types of algae you can actually get, and some of them are pretty cool, but they can be difficult to grow in your aquarium. I know that sounds stupid. Another great benefit about this stuff is it's absolutely so easy to care for, so it can literally go in any water parameters. I haven't even written down any water parameters for this stuff just because it will literally grow in any water parameters. So it'll go in heated water, cold water, low pH, high pH. It really doesn't care whatsoever. So yeah, with that being said, all different sorts of algae, particularly thread algae, are another great aquarium plant that you can throw in your guppy aquarium to help keep your fry thriving. So that is actually going to bring us to the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope this video helps a few of you guys out. If you did enjoy today's video and you haven't done so already, please make sure to go down and subscribe, and while you're down there, smash the like button and comment your thoughts on today's video. I always love going down there and reading them all, and I try to reply back to as many comments as I can. Also, if you haven't done so already, make sure to go check out my website, aussiefishkeeping.com. I've got all sorts of fish, botanicals, and other aquarium products up there at the moment. But yeah, with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all so much for sticking around to the end, and I'll see you all in that next video.